It was a beautiful morning in the woods, and Mike was enjoying his usual hike when he suddenly heard a strange noise. As he turned to investigate, he couldn't believe his eyes. A bear was standing just a few feet away from him, its jaws clamped around something small and fragile. As he got closer, Mike realized with horror that the bear was holding a newborn baby in its mouth. Mike's mind raced as he tried to think of a way to save the baby. He knew that he only had one chance to act, and he couldn't let fear hold him back. With a deep breath, he stepped forward and prepared to do whatever it took to rescue the innocent child. What happened next was something that Mike could never have imagined. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like and share this video with your friends. It might brighten their day and inspire them to do good. Also keep watching because an important lesson awaits at the end of the video. Mike approached the bear cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. He knew that he had to move quickly, but he also knew that he couldn't startle the animal or it might attack. He reached out his hand, trying to look as non-threatening as possible. The bear seemed to sense that Mike meant no harm, and to his amazement, it gently placed the baby in his outstretched arms. Mike's relief was short-lived, however, as he realized that the baby was not moving and was dangerously cold to the touch. He knew that he had to get the child to safety as quickly as possible. Mike wrapped the baby in his jacket and started running back the way he had come, hoping to find help. His heart was racing as he ran, and he could feel the baby's tiny body getting colder and colder in his arms. He knew he had to keep going, no matter how tired he got or how hopeless the situation seemed. As he ran, Mike couldn't help but wonder what had led the bear to bring the baby to him. Was it a coincidence, or had the bear somehow known that Mike was the only one who could help? Whatever the reason, Mike was determined to do everything in his power to save the child and bring it to safety. As Mike ran through the woods, he tried to make sense of what had just happened. He couldn't believe that he had actually rescued a newborn baby from the jaws of a bear. He knew that he had to get the child to safety as quickly as possible, but he also couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. When he finally reached civilization, Mike collapsed to the ground, panting and exhausted. He handed the baby over to the first person he saw, a woman who was out walking her dog. She called for an ambulance and soon, the baby was being rushed to the hospital. Mike followed behind, still trying to wrap his head around everything that had happened. As he waited in the hospital lobby, he couldn't help but wonder how the bear had come across the baby in the first place. Had it stumbled upon the child by accident, or had it been attracted by the sound of the baby's cries? He was determined to find out the truth and do everything in his power to help the child and its family. As he waited for news, he knew that this was a day he would never forget. After what felt like an eternity, a doctor finally emerged from the hospital room where the baby was being treated. Mike rushed over, his heart in his throat. "How is the baby?" he asked, his voice shaking. The doctor gave him a reassuring smile. "The baby is going to be okay," she said. "It was hypothermic and dehydrated, but we've been able to stabilize its condition. We're going to keep it here for a few days to monitor its progress, but it looks like it will make a full recovery." Mike let out a sigh of relief. "Thank goodness," he said, feeling a weight lifted off of his shoulders. "And what about the bear? Have you been able to find out how it came across the baby?" The doctor shook her head. "We're not sure yet," she said. "We've alerted the authorities and they're working on tracking down the bear. In the meantime, we're going to do everything we can to protect the baby and make sure it gets the care it needs." Mike nodded, grateful for the doctor's reassurance. As he left the hospital, he knew that there was still much he didn't know about the strange and miraculous chain of events that had led him to the bear and the baby. But he was determined to find out the truth and do everything in his power to help. As the days passed, Mike visited the baby in the hospital every chance he could. He was amazed by the child's resilience and determination to survive, and he felt a deep connection to it. He knew that he had been given a second chance to do something good in the world, and he was determined to make the most of it. The authorities eventually tracked down the bear, and to everyone's surprise, it turned out that the animal had been trying to protect the baby. It had been found abandoned in the woods, left to die by its mother. The bear had somehow sensed that the baby needed help and had taken it under its care. When the authorities learned the full story, they were amazed and grateful to Mike for his bravery and quick thinking. They offered to help him adopt the baby and start a new life as a family. Mike was overwhelmed with emotion and knew that this was exactly what he wanted. With the help of the authorities and the support of the community, Mike was able to adopt the baby and raise it as his own. He was grateful every day for the strange turn of events that had led him to the bear and the baby, and he knew that he would always be grateful for the opportunity to be a father.